Hi there, gallery members and new viewers alike. Thanks for tuning in for this latest edition of Gridiron Gallery. If you haven't seen my channel before up until this point with new videos, recommend you like this one and subscribe for more. We got plenty of content on all your favorite football leagues. And for those gallery members out there, thank you as always for tuning in. Really can't appreciate you enough. Now, on to the show. Joining me today on the Gridiron Gallery podcast, I have a guest helping me fill in some of the gaps and also help with breaking some of the newer pieces of news with the United States Football League, or as many would like to call the USFL. And for those filling in on this episode, just as a heads up, this is the newly launched USFL that we are talking about. And we've been waiting really since June to get some details, wondering, they're supposed to be starting in, this coming spring. And luckily, Dylan Smith, staff writer for Yellowhammer News, was one of the guys on the case with getting some of the recent, at least bits filled in as to, well, the fact that they're going to the Magic City in Birmingham, Alabama. First off, let's get Dylan in and just say hi. How's it going, Dylan? I mean, thanks for taking the time to come on the show. It's probably been a little bit fun, I imagine, for yourselves saying, oh, wow, there's a whole league coming to not just my state, but just one of the biggest cities in the state.
Yeah, no, man, that's right. And first, thanks for having me on here. But yeah, man, it's a huge deal for the state of Alabama, a huge deal for the city of Birmingham and the greater Birmingham area in general. So I think there's a lot of excitement surrounding this proposal. And I think, if the players can get it done down in Birmingham, I think that we can really have something that's great here, that's exclusive to Birmingham for a full season. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of interest in it.
Right. Well, there's plenty of interest. We've been in the alternative football community. It's on our social networks and such. We've been kind of sitting on our hands since June 3rd, when really the main press release kind of took fold, which was originally a conjoined effort between Fox and Brian Woods of the Spring League and other ventures of that like. It seems like that is molded. It sounds like it's under a new company. The National Spring Football League is the holding company. Any details on that, or at least can you give us some details to run down what the city of Birmingham is trying to put together with, at least say, NSFL or really Fox, who's holding this?
Yeah. So this is driven, purely by Fox Sports, which is really unprecedented, right? Because you've seen alternative football leagues such as this come up and they failed, whether if it's because of the lack of strong financial support, or just lack of operational control. It's just what you have here in Fox Sports. I don't think they would really put their name forth, put their backing behind something if they knew it wasn't, if it was destined to fail. So that's why I think this will be an extremely successful league should it come to fruition here in Birmingham, and it'll happen. I do believe. But so I think a lot of people on the ground are optimistic about it. But Fox, the brand is just huge, right? It's a very prestigious brand, and there are people at Fox Sports that are reporting directly to Rupert Murdoch, the Murdoch family, on this, with the whole Fox umbrella, right? So I think really lending their name credibility to the whole thing, and they're the ones that are proposing it. Having a network propose something like this, I think, is very unique, and to have them launch an aggressive advertising campaign, on network television, and just their whole proposal that they're proposing to the city of Birmingham. It's really something unique and special. I think that the local stakeholders should really jump on. And it seems like there are some developments that is happening.
Right. Well, here's what I find fascinating with this. It's kind of a twofold for me. Not only is it that you have Birmingham, which is historically known for being a kind of a almost like a mecca, if you will, for alternative leagues. It's been around the block everywhere. It had its chances, even with the USFL, which as we have learned now, it's promised that the Stallions are indeed coming back to Birmingham for this first hub season. Secondly, though, Alabama is a college football state, and really Birmingham has been in the news at least within a little over a year between the XFL and the USFL. They've been looking for a pro football team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. And I think the leadership down in Birmingham, I think that think they see this as a great opportunity for them, because I mean, you're talking about an extraordinary economic impact that this would have on the greater Birmingham area in general overall. And then, of course, with the tourism industry, you have the hotel accommodations that will be provided, for the USFL teams, and you've got a great amount of exposure over broadcast for the city. With the announcers coming on air talking about which restaurant they ate at, or just some of the local bars maybe. So I mean, you're talking about a tremendous amount of tax revenue and tax receipts coming in to the city of Birmingham, and I think that spills over into the greater Birmingham area. So so definitely something that they're trying to garner a lot of support for. And I think that what you're seeing here happen over the past few days and the coming days this week with the local entities really kind of taking an all hands on deck sort of approach to this. I think what you're seeing is a collaborative, team effort in that to actually make this come to fruition. Again, I think it'll happen.
Yeah, I think so. We'll find the official word October 22nd. Well, by the time we release this episode, funny enough, we'll know for a fact what's going on, or this episode will be outdated and it'll be the case of, oh no, the city rejected it, something went wrong, and I'll have to do an emergency. But until then, it's looking good. At least we've had follow-up reports already, from yourself and from al.com as well, stating that it looks like it's progressing in that direction and getting more and more serious. So that's great to hear. And talking on that front, so looking at the plan itself, and just kind of we'll go over your write-up here. It looks like they're going to do a 10-week regular season is what they are proposing, somewhere in the ballpark of about 40-ish football games. That includes also like semifinals and a championship. We've heard from you and other sources between 200 million to 150 million is backed by Fox, and they're trying to get investors. Now, is that more just their general wealthy investors, and like almost like they're trying to convince people this year? Is that just like they're trying to target, say, Birmingham and maybe locals in Alabama to start and then move out? Like, any other details beyond just what they mean by investment?
Yeah, no, I think that they're looking for private venture. Like you said, it's the 200, the 200, and I believe is it 200 million, 250 million.
Yeah,
that we're
250 or 200 million. Yeah.
Yeah, 200 million, and then an additional 250 million to add on to it, and an additional investment. And that, from what we understand, that's going to come from just a good amount of private investors. And I think that that's obviously just to raise additional capital for it. And I think it's extremely important to note that Fox Sports is not, the city of Birmingham, whatever funds they're able to garner, to have the stadium support the league. That's just for operational and overhead costs for the stadium. Nothing that they're having to raise money for or offer incentives for is going to benefit Fox Sports. So everything, Fox Sports is putting their own money behind it, and then they're raising additional investment as well. So I think they're all doing it as a show of that there is tremendous support for this, as well as to raise additional capital for any expansion that they want to see going forward.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're wanting to put in good. This definitely feels like a test run, for them. Their name is fully behind this now. I know you might have heard, with TSL, they were with it in broadcast, but they weren't really at the forefront. Now this sounds like things have kind of flipped on their head, and they've kind of just taken this in stride at this point, and this is what they're going to test on their own. And the situation in Birmingham is fascinating. So you got two stadiums. One of them is recently finished, actually really nice venue for University of Alabama Birmingham themselves, Protective Stadium, which sounds like it's going to have the bulk. And Legion Field's going to be involved in some capacity. Did you get any implication as to, is Legion Field, say, like only for the playoffs and championship with its more historical side, or is it just like maybe overflow? What were you gauging from maybe the initial announcement out of that?
So from what I can understand and what we know, I think that the Legion Field situation is kind of fluid, right? I think that they can use it for practice.
Okay.
They can, and there are multiple teams that need to utilize some sort of facility, for practice or games. So if there's like a scheduling conflict, they can use Legion Field. That's their legacy field there, and obviously not a lot of nostalgia there. Alabama Auburn used to play the Iron Bowl there. So
Mhm.
that, I mean, there's a lot of history there, and so I think that they really see this as an opportunity because they see both. There's both stadiums there. Protective Life Stadium, obviously, I mean, it's a fantastic venue. I mean, I just had the opportunity to go down there the other day, and it's beautiful, man. It's awesome.
Nice.
But yeah, but so Legion Field, like you said, yeah, that can be utilized as well. And I think they see that as just as an additional field that they could use for really pretty much anything. But I think practice and for scheduling conflicts as well.
Mhm. Is there any pushback to this deal? It sounds like it's mostly been positive from any of the write-ups in the local news reporting. But is there anyone that's saying, hang on a minute, like I know some of it's that the USFL is getting a lot of help from the local officials in Birmingham, at least in terms of like maybe potential housing and such. We're hearing 40,000 nights worth of hotel stay nights for players and personnel. I mean, what is the vibe locally, maybe in terms of both sides of the equation right now?
Yeah, so everything that we're hearing, locally, it's very positive. It's I mean, all the local stakeholders are very optimistic about it. It's just a matter of them coming to the table and saying, look, you've got the county commission, you've got the city council, you've got one of the tourism industries or entities there, and so it's really just saying, what kind of funds do we need to put up to say, look, this is what we're going to do to support, sort of the wear and tear on the stadium, or, what, parking, or, concessions and things such as that. So from what we're hearing, with the most recent developments, they are having those discussions, and that's a very positive thing. It's not a matter of, well, I don't think we should do it. It's a matter of just, I think we need to do it, but let's make sure that we're doing this, something that makes fiscal sense. And I think you're seeing positive developments on that end.
Sure. Well, I mean, when you're getting reports of generating $15 million for the city by itself, it's got to be a nice penny. And even
Yeah.
even with some of the sacrifices they're saying they're going to give up with terms of letting the league have its own things, it's still going to be a good amount of revenue, at least coming, I imagine, out of Protective Stadium and whatever may bleed into Legion Field. I understand. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's two different departments handle both those stadiums, right? Like it's not just one of them. I think I could be wrong on that front, just from my readings.
Yeah, so you've got the BJCC, which is, basically, the governing authority of, of Protective Life Stadium. And
Mhm.
so as to who gets the final say on Legion Field, I'm not sure about that, honestly. But yeah, so that the BJCC is basically the governing authority of that, and they, they're the ones coming and saying, can, we need some additional, funds to help kind of offset some of the costs, and that's where you're seeing some of the local officials step up and say, okay, let's do this, and let's have a conversation on what that looks like.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited for this as a whole. Obviously more details, and it's 6 months away, which is also kind of crazy to think about too. And you and me will learn more of those steps as we go. It's just good to hear that the hub is going to a city that I think deserves it and has been at least craving it for so long. So, glad
Right.
for those guys out there. Glad for the state as well. I'm looking forward. I'm personally just gonna let and others in here. I'm doing a road trip. No matter what happens, I'm going down for one of the weekends. I know it's probably gonna be like a bulk of tickets for like one day or something. I will buy myself a day ticket and I will go down there. And actually, that's funny. What would you? So, because I imagine there's some fans like that, and you probably some other Birmingham residents as well. I mean, what would you recommend as sites for the Magic City? Like, say myself, I'm from Indianapolis, so I've only passed through once going to Orange Beach on a vacation, just kind of a 15-hour road trip from the northern part of the U.S. So I passed down a highway, have never been for a vacation or stay.
Right. Well, and I'm someone who's really, an outsider to Birmingham too. So I live in
Okay.
extreme northeast Alabama, but I've had opportunities to go to Birmingham. It's an awesome city. You talking about, you've got the Vulcan, which is really, I mean, I call it a huge sort of statue, but it's
Okay.
like, reminiscent of like one of the Greek mythology legends. But
Hmm.
that's incredible, an old industrial city too. So there's a lot of historic sites to see down there. And then I mean, you've got talking about, I don't know what kind of food you're into, but I mean, you've got just an array.
Okay, I'm an open book, man. Like,
Same,
not much
same.
is going to be rejected by this gullet.
Right, same here. I mean, if it's edible, I'll eat it, man. But yeah, just a huge, huge, vast diversity of restaurants down there. And so, I mean, it's really a city that, that I think that tourists will be interested in. Great hotel accommodations, really just a first class sort of city. So, and it's the second largest city in the state now. Was the first, but just due to the tremendous growth of Huntsville of late.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so, but I mean, just a huge, awesome city Birmingham is, and I know that tourists are excited about it. I believe.
Fantastic. I'm assuming you plan on going to a game yourself. Just
Oh, absolutely.
or
Yeah,
at least
definitely.
a weekend. It sounds like more a weekend. I'd
Yeah.
have to take a guess.
Yeah, man, and let us know when you come down too. We'll hopefully catch up with you there.
Oh, trust me, I will keep in touch with you on that. Like I said, I'm looking forward to this. It's next year's going to be think of the summer of George from Seinfeld. It's going to be the summer of football, or really the year of football, because I'll be going to start in the spring. A lot of plans coming up into the pipeline.
Exactly, and that's the other thing too. I mean, this is a spring league, right? So
Yeah.
we get our football fix over the fall, and then boom, here it is in the spring. Because I know there's really no off season now with recruiting and the transfer portal with college football and everything like that. But I mean, and you've got the draft, but for the NFL. But I mean, this is, for football, true football fans, this is a dream come true.
Right. Well, even for your city, like besides just football, like I understand that you have the World Games coming to Birmingham too.
Right.
So like you got to juggle that as well with this
Yeah.
now. There's gonna be a lot of action going on.
That's
Coming
right.
spring and all the way to really midsummer from what the schedule sounds like. It's awesome.
Yeah. Like a mini just sports hub right there, man. It's
Yeah.
gonna be the center of some really cool events taking place. So I know they're excited about it.
So before we go, I guess I didn't really get your personal more take on this. I really want to get some of the facts out and more of the local flares from yourself. What would you want out of this initial season? Maybe just, I don't know, more of like a resident with the league and a company like Fox coming there, or really just like say setting up and you're going to be a fan for hopefully year 2 onward. Like, what do you want out of it, or what do others want out of it?
Yeah, I think just it could, this is something that could go to benefit the city as a whole, from somebody for a citizen of the state of Alabama and a resident and local residents. I think that what you're going to see, as announced with the aggressive advertising campaign that we understand Fox Sports is going to partake in.
Right.
You're talking about billions of minutes of airtime exposure for your city. So Birmingham locals, that's something that's special, because I know if I live there, that'd be something that's very exciting, and it still is for me, even though I live outside of Birmingham, just as a resident of Alabama. But I mean, you're with it potentially, airing on, you're watching Jimmy Fallon, and then cuts to commercial break, and then boom, Birmingham's, right there on your screen,
right.
and with the PGA Tour and and other events like that. I mean, Fox Sports is the #1 network for football, right? And so with them being behind that, just that prestige, I mean, it's not like some startup is trying to, bring in an alternative football league. It's Fox Sports. So that in itself, I think is for me the headline of this whole thing. And it really gives a lot of people a lot of comfort knowing that, hey, this thing's going to be successful, or they wouldn't touch it. So
Yeah.
I mean, you just look at the umbrella of Fox with, from Fox News to Fox Sports, everything under it. I mean, they've just got an incredible lineup, and with this addition to their portfolio, yeah, I think it excites a lot of folks.
Well, I'm glad to hear the excitement is palpable down in Alabama, and at least especially in the Birmingham region, or at least metropolitan area and such. That's fantastic. Like I said, the developments are great. Again, thank you for at least being one of those that brought the updates for those that are really intrigued. Because again, we've been sitting here, we've been really patient, and someone like yourself that's found the news and has grabbed on that story. That gets a big thumbs up from me and others in the community. So thank you very much, Dylan. We appreciate that.
Hey, well, man, I appreciate it. Yellowhammer News just tries to, keep its ear to the ground and monitor all the recent developments, and we'll be sure to let everything we're here. So, I mean, we're excited about it, and I really do. I appreciate that. I appreciate the shout out on that.
All right. Well, until then, I will be in touch with you, my friend. We will. I'll see if we can. It's going to happen. I am going to do the trip because I am intrigued. So I will be in touch with you, see if we can make this work at some point later next year. And where can we follow you till then? You know, I mean, what's give us Yellowhammer socials as well. I know it's more of a Alabama based, publication and website, but I mean, still, I mean, there's some good articles you guys have. I checked out besides just the one. I did browse around a little bit.
Well, yeah, well, we appreciate that, man. We do. Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at YHN. That's at YHN Yellowhammer News. And you can hit us up on, yellowhammernews.com. You know, we put a lot of good content out throughout the day. And for my personal Twitter, I'm Dylan Smith, DYLAN Smith, AL. So just hit me up, and, we'll be sure to shoot the information out to you as we get it. So I appreciate the platform again, man. You got awesome podcasts here. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah, keep it up, man.
Thank you, Dylan. Yeah, have a good one, man. Catch you soon enough.
Yes, sir. Take it easy.
The Gridiron Gallery podcast. New episodes every Friday on your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, and premiering first, as always, at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, only on unhingedsn.com.